The Spirit of Christ is a missionary spirit. Great Controversy, page 70.
Yes, we're gonna study about the relation of dress to education. Is there any relationship between dress and education? Is it there or not? If it's there, we're gonna find out. Because like the two looked like two separate. I mean, how can dress be related to education? So we are going to study the relationship between the two. Yes, you can take notes. Yes. Yes. I want us to look at the first reference that we are going to study. It will give us a clue. It will give us a hint and a clue from the book Education, page 246. The book Education 246, paragraph 1. It says that no education can be complete that does not teach the right principles in regard to dress. So no education can be complete that does not teach the right principles in regard to dress. Without such teaching, the work of education is too often retarded or perverted. So education, if it does not include the right principles to dress, it's not complete. We know that like education, when we say that it's complete, it needs to include your physical, your mental, and your spiritual. So it means that dress must form part of that to complete education. So no one can say that they are educated if they do not understand the right principles to dress. We are fine, Okay. I want us to look at the first instance where we find dress being mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. But I want us to first open the book of Psalms chapter 104 verse, yes, Psalms 104 verse 2. Psalms 104 verse 2. It talks about God. It says, who covereth with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain. So it says that God covers himself with light as with a garment. God covers himself with light as with a garment. And then Genesis chapter 3 verse 21, it says that we are created in God's image. So Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden before sin, they were covered with that light as with a garment. But then something happened. They transgressed the law, and that garment got removed. And then, like the paragraph in the Great Controversy, the second paragraph of page 505, it says that when man transgressed the divine law, his nature became evil. So immediately when that light was removed, the nature of man became evil. And he was in harmony and not at variance with Satan. You know, when you are in harmony with someone, it means you think everything. Whatever they say, you're going to agree. So that's how man was when that garment of light was removed, after he transgressed. So naturally, the paragraph continues to say, Naturally, there is no enmity between Satan and a sinful man. So that enmity that we find in Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, it doesn't exist there naturally by default. You have it. So it says that both became evil through apostasy. Who and who? Who and who became evil through apostasy? Sinful men, man and the originator of sin, Satan, they both became evil through apostasy. And then they became in harmony. Then, this is what happened. Genesis chapter 3 verse 7 says that the eyes of them both were opened and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Who do you think suggested this idea to them? They were in harmony with who? So their thoughts were evil. And they decided, let us make fig leaves as aprons. They were in harmony. And then the great controversy 505 paragraph 2, it continues to say, this is very, very important. It says that had not God specially intervened, came in to their rescue, Satan and man would have entered into an alliance against heaven. And instead of cherishing enmity against Satan, that's what they were supposed to do. The whole human family would have united in opposition to God. And then what did God do? He interposed. How did he do it? When we read Genesis chapter 3 verse 15, it says that then God said there will be enmity between the two. Why? Because that union, that harmony was just too much. They agreed in everything. They agreed in it. Then God intervened. That's why when we read in Genesis chapter 3 verse 21, what did God do? He provided them with garments. He made them coats of skins, and then he clothed them himself. So God did not leave it to themselves to decide. To say, it's just a dress, who cares? It's a little thing. So God had to intervene, and then he says that. And then that paragraph that we began with, Education 246, paragraph 1, when it continues, I only read the top part of it. When it says that no education can be complete that does not teach the right principles in regard to dress. And then without these right principles, the work of education is actually hindered. So if you do not have the right principles in regard to how you should dress, the work of education is going to be hindered. You're not going to develop physically, mentally, spiritually. You're not going to develop. How? Okay. Love of dress. If you love dress, it means you don't have the right principles. So love of dress is a hindrance to education. How? It says love of dress, devotion to fashion are among the teacher's most formidable rivals and most effective hindrances. So when education is supposed to take its part, you've got these people who are there, who love dress, who are devoted to fashion. when they are supposed to be learning and acquiring education. They are there sitting, loving dress, devoting their time to fashion. So now do we see how is dress a hindrance to education? What's going to happen to these people? What are they thinking about? Okay. And then 246 paragraph 2 of the book Education says that fashion is a mistress that rules with a rod, with an iron hand. So as education on the other side is trying to achieve what it has to achieve, we've got fashion on the other side opposing that. Ruling with an iron hand. How does it do it? How does fashion do it? How does it do this? Ne? It says that in very many homes, the strength, time, and attention of parents and children are absorbed in meeting her demands. Whose demands? The demands of fashion. So you spend all your time, all your strength, and attention focusing on fashion. At that time, what were you supposed to be doing? Learning, acquiring knowledge, getting education. You're spending that time uselessly so. It says the members of the households are doomed to ceaseless toil. There is no time for training the children, no time for prayer or Bible study, no time for helping the little ones to become acquainted with God through His works. Everyone is busy trying to find out, what am I going to wear? Then the work of education is hindered. There is no time and no money for charity. The only money which is there is for clothes. And often the home table is stinted. You can even be hungry as long as you look on point. That's all that matters. The food is ill-selected and hastily prepared. The love of display produces extravagance, and in many young people, it kills an aspiration for a nobler life. You cannot even think right. You cannot think higher than that. What will happen to your mental capacity? It will just go down and down. And then it says, instead of seeking an education, what happens? They early engage in some occupation to earn money for indulging it into passion for dress. And through this passion, many a young girl is beguiled to ruin. So you spend all your entire life worrying about nothing. What am I going to wear? Who cares? Then Education 247 paragraph 5, it says, now we're gonna look at examples of how is dress hindering education. The book Education 247 paragraph 5, it says, at school, the girls are unsuitable and they are by unsuitable and uncomfortable clothing. They are unfitted either for study or for recreation. Can that be clothes that you wear that makes you so uncomfortable that you can't even concentrate? Their minds are preoccupied, and the teacher has a difficult task to awaken their interest. They can't even go for recreation because their thoughts are uncomfortable. Or you've got this thing that is so tight in your head. You even have a headache. You know those, yeah, you can't even think. Right now I'm talking and headache left, right and center. Why is that thing? It's just too heavy on your head. The work of education is just there being hindered. Why do we do that? Okay, we're talking about at school. Ne? Then paragraph 4 of 247, it says, even the day and the services of worship are not exempt from fashion's domination. Rather, they afford opportunity for the greater display of her power. If you want to see where fashion is really displaying her power, it says in the service of worship. Okay, this is Education 247, paragraph 4. Ne? The church is made a parade ground, and the fashions are studied more than the sermon. The poor, those who are poor, are unable to meet the demands of custom. Then what do? They stay away from church altogether. It's their hands. It says that the poor are unable to meet the demands of custom, so they stay away from church. The day of rest is spent in idleness, and by the youth often in associations that are demoralizing. So we have to understand that there are a lot of things we can do. There are a lot of things you can do so that you don't think about dress. You don't think about fashion. Yes, she's powerful. She's ruling heavily. But then 248 paragraph 1, it says that lead the youth to see that in dress as in diet, not only in dress, not only in diet, but in dress, plain living is indispensable to high thinking. So plain living in regard to dress, it requires you to think. You don't just wake up and dress and go and you say you're fine. That's what Adam and Eve just tried to do. But God said, no, you don't. Don't just turn around and look at a fig leaf and you think of wearing it. And then it says, lead them to see how much there is to learn and to do. There is so much that you can learn. There's so much that you can do. Why should you waste your mental capacity and your time and your attention? Why? So there is so much to learn. There's so much to do. You will even realize that you don't even have time to think about that. You don't even have time to think about that. How precious are the days of youth as a preparation for the life work. And then when we read Exodus chapter 28 verse 2, Exodus chapter 28 verse 2, it says that, and thou shalt make holy garments, not just garments, holy garments, for Aaron and For Aaron thy brother, for glory and for beauty. So the garments must be holy. They must be for glory. We learned about giving glory to God. Ne? So by the garments, we glorify God. That's the first priority. For glory first, then for beauty. And then when we also read 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3 until 5, 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 3 until 5, it says, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold and of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible. That is not corruptible. The hidden man of the heart is not corruptible. Even the ornament of a meek and a quiet spirit, that is for glory, ne? Yes. Which is in the sight of God of great price. The holy garments. And then, for after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted God, they adorned themselves. So they were dressing for glory and for people. Because like, if you shift the attention, and you swap things around, and then it's for beauty and then glory, that's when you're gonna start doing these things. That's when you're gonna start out what adorning. You're gonna start doing that. Because what are you thinking of? What do people think? That's when you're gonna start plaiting hair, wearing gold, putting on all these things. While the hidden man of the heart is just evil. And why? You know, when you know that you are a bad person, you're gonna try to make people to love you. You know, inside you are just a bad person. So at least there must be something that they like about you. So what can I do? Let me adorn my outward appearance. Because you know inside you're just evil. So something to be admired, then you adorn to hide what is inside. Okay, this one is important. Manuscript release, volume 7, 24, paragraph 1. Please write it. Manuscript release, volume 7, page 24, paragraph 1. It says, our manner of dress, as well as our deportment, is to be a ministry as well as an education. So the way you dress is supposed to be a ministry. It's supposed to be an education. How? Okay, this is how it should be. When we read Numbers chapter 25, it will explain how should what you wear be a ministry or an education. Numbers chapter 25, verse 38 to 40. It says that, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments. So God had to specify how they should make their garments throughout their generations. and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a riband of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them. And that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a whoring, that you may remember and do all the commandments and be holy unto God. So the children of Israel, they had to make their garments such that when they look at them, they are reminded of the commandments of God. When they look at how they are dressing, they should remember to keep the commandments of God. That is how a garment becomes a ministry. That's how your dress becomes a ministry and an education. So when you look at what you are dressing, what does it remind you of? But, okay. For an example, in the book of Revelation, we've got two women. If you look at those two women, the way they are described, how are they described? What characterizes them? It's how they are dressed. The women of Revelation 12 and 17, like how they are dressed tells you about them, tells you about their ministry, tells you about what they are teaching you, what is it that they are bringing forward. Because when you look at the one in Revelation chapter 12, when you just read at how she's dressed, how she's clothed, it's her ministry. That's her ministry. Look at the one in Revelation chapter 17. That's her ministry. She's there to deceive. And how do you see that? Look at how she's dressed. Decked with gold. So by how these two women are dressed, you can actually tell the message that they are bringing forward. Testimonies for the Church, volume 3, 376, paragraph 2. Testimonies for the Church, volume 3, 376, paragraph 2, says, Dear youth, a disposition in you to dress according to the fashion and to wear lace and gold and artificials for display will not recommend to others your religion or the truth that you profess. It won't. People of discernment will look upon your attempts to beautify the external as proof of weak minds and proud hearts. Simple, plain, unpretending dress will be a recommendation to my youthful sisters. In no better way can you let your light shine to others than in your simplicity of dress and deportment. I think this is very clear. And then 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 9 says that we are spectacles. We are made spectacles unto the world, and to the angels, and to men. So you cannot say it does not matter. It matters. It does matter a big time. This is how education is hindered. Education 247 paragraph 2. The love of display produces extravagance, and in many young people, it kills the aspiration for a nobler life. Instead of seeking an education, what do? We read this quotation. Instead of seeking an education, people they engage in some occupation. Why? To make money so that they can obey fashion. And then we will read. Okay, this is the education that we have to understand. And because if you understand that there is much to life than what you are wearing, there is so much you can do. You will also understand that it's not just about dressing. When God clothed Adam and Eve with the coat of skin, when they looked at that coat, what were they supposed to think? Was that coat a ministry and an education to them? It actually brought what? And it brought to their attention that a savior must die. (249) paragraph 2 of the book Education says that let the youth and the little children be taught to choose for themselves that royal robe in heaven's loom, the fine linen, clean and white. When we read from the book of Revelation chapter 19 verse 8, which all the holy ones of earth will wear. This robe, Christ's own spotless character, is freely offered to every human being. But all who receive it, they will receive it and wear it. So we have to understand that there is more. So the more when you want to dress for glory, it also prepares you mentally to think about the robe that you're going to wear. To think about Christ's righteousness. And then your garment becomes a ministry and an education. Then education becomes complete. You understand the right principles of education. Then we can say you are educated. Because you can never say someone is educated when they go on the streets naked. That's the world's education. That's the world's education. So we should understand that dress, principles, and education are linked. And if we neglect these principles, the work of education is not going to prosper. It's going to be hindered. And when the work of education is hindered, we know that that is danger to our own souls. So may the Lord bless the study on.